I'm not gonna lie. I got bored. There's no content anywhere. Not on Twitch, not on YouTube. It's 10 o'clock. I ain't ready to go to bed yet. It's too early. So I figured I would waste time doing Dead by Daylight creation reviews and other shenanigans or whatever the hell else I can manage to come up with. But, this ain't gonna be an official review. What the hell have I done? Went straight past my live stream. Uh, just talking about random things for a short bit. Maybe a review. Here we go. First, due to some unsavory images currently being posted on this forum, we have made the decision to temporarily disable images being added to posts. We apologize to our users who are wishing to share screenshots and all this other stuff. I don't think they mean the creations reviews, because ain't nobody posted anything here that's bad. We generally are well behaved when it comes to smut. So, I guess forum rules, game rules, I don't know, some other places of the other categories that are through there. Somebody's gone crazy. Only they did something like this about their particular game. I have noticed that if it doesn't affect behavior's reputation directly, they generally don't care and don't do anything about it. Like the racist Leatherface mask that people were doing things about. That is something that would affect their reputation, so they jumped on it. Whatever the hell's unsavory post or whatever that they're talking about here. It's on their main page. That would start to affect their reputation. So they completely and quickly jumped on that shit. So, I mean, yeah, I understand you're a business and all that behavior, and you know, it takes time and it takes money to get things knocked down, but there are some things that have been just laid out there for years now. You're telling me throughout all of these years you've never had any type of free spot to just go in and clean some of the things up? Which, I mean, you have cleaned some up. I'll give you a thumbs up on, you know, what you have done. I'll give you credit where credit is due. However, there are issues in the game that have been still present since the game came out to this date that still ain't been fixed. There's all kinds of other different things that happen and other things that have been implemented that need to be fixed, that have been brought to your attention. At least you say that you know that this is an issue and you're working on it. Question mark, question mark. But who knows? I know there's some things you just don't have a skilled enough person to fix. I've been there, I've done that. I've hit walls and things that I thought I was completely 100% efficient at, and been like, man, you know, I don't know if I can find anybody who can fix this problem. I mean, guarantee there's always somebody better than you, but the money sink to fix such a simple issue ain't worth it. The player base can just, you know, deal with it. But then this drags out a year or two, and then next thing you know, nobody else is working on it or trying to fix it or find a solution to a problem that's been there, and it gets thrown in the hamper. Next thing you know, you turn into the IRS and you are millions and millions of tax returns behind. And it's been over a year and I still haven't gotten my tax return. I've already filed another one. Don't be the IRS. Don't do it. Iridescent shards, RE Leatherface. We've identified more players who are missing the iridescent shards and are working at sending their rewards by the end of the day. We'll be searching for any remaining cases over the coming week. If this is just specific to Leatherface, then you might as well, instead of just giving them iridescent shards that they're missing, just give everybody just a set amount like you usually do and move on with it. Now, if they bought the iridescent shards or something, well, I guess you bought the auric cells, not the iridescent shards. So, yeah, this is just playtime on level ups and things like that. So, just give everybody like 1,000 shards or something like that, and then handle, the main ones. If somebody has, tens of thousands of shards that they haven't gotten, obviously, you might want to correct that. But me personally, I would just put it into a computer system. Find out what X is missing. If it's a small amount, add in. If it's a medium amount, add in this package. If it's a large amount, add in this package. And just compensate them based off the shards that they have. If they have no extra killers except for Bubba, offer them, the ability to wait and receive whatever shards and a little bit extra, like some blood points or something. Or here, take a free character. You have between these three characters to choose from. And obviously, you can't give them Pinhead or something like that, but there's Legion and, everything else that isn't contractual. Offer them one of those killers. If they're, 9,000 or under, give them just an equivalent exchange. And if it's a little over 9, give them some blood points to compensate. Call it a day. Yeah, they're going to be mad, but they're already mad. Even if you go through and give them everything that's due, they're still going to be mad, regardless. So capitalize on that anger, give them something, and then continue to spin the wheel and work on more important things. Like this game you've been working on for years. We have resolved an issue that prevented affected players from spinning their auric cells. So all of your currency's just jacked right now. The auric cells is different. That's cash money. Iridescent shards are kind of whatever. That's more of an issue when it comes to that. I definitely focused on auric cells, which the color dictates the priority. They're working on the purple stuff first, and then the greens come afterwards. At least you would hope they would work in that reverse order. Anyway, actually, I can just pop this up. Before I get in any reviews, I have this funny story about Rocket League. Those of you know, I'm 28 years old. Got into this lobby today with this delusional kid. It stated he was GC2 and everybody was better, or everybody's better than me and my teammates, and all of this other stuff. And that he could clap anybody in the lobby and all of this other stuff. Stated he was 28. He has he has a house and a mortgage and everything else, and he's more mature than everybody else, and he's better at Rocket League than everybody else. because he had GC2. Wouldn't say what he got GC2 in. He said he could prove it, but he never said what, and he wouldn't say what he got GC2 in. Just that he had GC2. So we get there. We're having a conversation. The whole lobby's heated. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just over here laughing. And I had to throw heat to the fire. I had to. And I was like, I'm glad I'm on my Smurf account. Because I was. I decided not to go on the main account because I've been playing like doo doo because I'm Rocket League fatigued from playing every day. Time I take another break, especially after today. For like the rest of the season, or at least a couple of days, maybe a week or two. But got there. I said I was on my Smurf and all of this, and he immediately popped back, calling me kid and how I'm full of shit and all of that. And I was just like, it's funny how one person could be so wrong about everything that he says. The fact that he thinks he's better than me, the fact that he thinks I'm a kid, and all of these other assumptions that he was throwing out, and he was actually wrong on 100% of the things that he was saying. Kept trying to demean me, kept trying to call me kid and all that. And like, one, if you're calling somebody kid, then you're generally under 20 years old. Kid comes into the vocabulary when, well, first it goes to, oh, well, well, let me start over. People generally insult you when it comes to age. They give you one age group lower than what they generally are. So if you're 13, you call everybody else that's under you. They use the term, child or baby or something like that. You're just a baby. You're just this. And they go one stage lower. If you're up towards 18, 18 to 20, you generally call people kid. What are you doing, kid? You're just kids. Why are there so many kids in this lobby? Kid this, kid that. Shut up, kid. You don't know what you're doing, kid. And they think they're sounding so mature, but you're not mature. Generally, from 18 to, well, let's say 17 to 20, you generally hear the words kid. When you're from, 21 ish all the way to about 25 ish, you hear the word child being thrown out. You're nothing but a child. You're immature. You're nothing but a child. You're a child. You're a child. Sometimes you'll get the word kid. If they call them a kid first, then they're like, really, kid? You're trying to call yourself mature when you're just a kid or you're a child. Or they'll call them a fetus or something like that. You're just a fetus. Then you get in upwards of 30. And that's when the kid, child, all of that stops dropping, and you get motherfucker, dumbass, shit like that. You get into the next generation of all of that. Well, you're just a kid, and you're just a dumbass. You you're an idiot. You're a moron. You're a dumbass. You're delusional. That's when the more mature and more, languated, blah, 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 blah. That's when the more common, actual mature terms start coming out. Or they just won't engage you. You'll try to call them kid, child, and a whole bunch of other shit, and they'll just ignore you and continue on their day because they're too old for that shit. Hmm. Especially if it's through like text chat when it comes to Rocket League. I guarantee you, if you talk to them, if I was able to talk to this person who was just popping off, and I mean he was popping off 3 lobbies worth of people, just calling everybody out for nothing while sitting still, saying he's better than everybody, but never really moved any of those games and even proved it in the slightest. I can prove it, I can prove it, I can prove it. I got pictures, I got all of this stuff, I can prove it easily. Yeah, but when we ask you to prove it in game, you all of a sudden don't want to play. You just want to sit there and say you're better and you want to laugh and all of that. You're obviously fronting. You're full of shit. You ain't good at the game because the time that you was playing the beginning of this, I was dunking on your dumbass. But I just find it funny how this individual could go on and on and on and on. Finally, everybody left the last lobby. I think it was lobby 4, where people are actually tired of his shit and leaving. And I was like, it was just me and him. And he tried to talk and say 1v1 and tried to tell me to prove my GC3 and all this other stuff. And I'm like, bro, everybody in this lobby's gone. You've literally ruined this lobby. You literally chased anybody out. I don't want anything to do with you. You're not a nice person to talk to. You're not a nice person to play with. Goodbye. And he's like, oh, well, you're running away and all of that. And started calling me, keyword and all that other stuff. I stayed in the lobby till the start of the next game, and he left. Because he was expecting me to leave and he was going to talk shit to me and leaving. He talked shit to me, I stayed. We went to the next lobby, he see that I stayed, and then he immediately left. It's like, that's what I thought. You can say a lot of things behind the keyboard and all of that, but you ain't got much. Get out of that game. Go into the next lobby. It's a group of 3, a toxic team like usual. They had one guy that I can't even call him decent. The only thing he ever did when he got the ball was air dribble while holding arrow right. That's it. He's one of those guys that thinks he's the shit and he's amazing at the game because he can air dribble holding arrow right. That's it. He scored 1 goal when everybody was out of position and started talking shit saying he was better than everybody. Rank, by the way, was C2. So he was even lower than the lobbies we played before, but C2. One of his teammates the entire time, which is how he got this particular goal, was only going for demos. His teammate could not touch the ball. He whiffed the ball every time he went for it, got embarrassed, and immediately went for a bump or a demo. And that's what he did all game, was whiff ball, go for demo. Whiff ball, go for demo. Got tired of the demo attempts, and I asked him, why do you keep this guy around? Like, he's not playing the game. He's not trying to help you. He's not trying to do passing plays. Why are you keeping this guy around? All he's doing is driving around going for demos. It's obviously too hard of a skill level for him. You guys need to either, make Smurf accounts and play with him at a level that, he can actually play, or he needs to, get with a group of people that's his skill level. This lobby was like a doo-doo, like Diamond Champ 1 lobby, but he couldn't even keep up in that. And they're like, well, because we're friends and we're his friends and all of that, we want to play with him. And I'm like, that's understandable. And he's like, well, if you had friends, you would understand. And I'm like, I understand completely. I have plenty of friends online. I have plenty of friends. I could call a friend right now and we could play. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you claim to be this guy's friend, and yet you are bringing him into a lobby to where he can't keep up with the gameplay. It's not very friend like, huh? And instead of noticing and being a good friend, which I did, that this guy could not touch the ball because he was like a low platinum in a high diamond, like low champ lobby. Like literally everything he went for, he missed. Got embarrassed and then immediately went for a demo. So I spent most of the game watching him miss and then immediately come shooting at one of us. If he missed, he would go back, turn back around, and try to bump you again. And if you went for boost or something, he would try to run past you and steal your boost, then turn around and go after you again. It's like it's not a fun game for him. It's not a fun game for us. And you two obviously don't give a crap about your friend who you're claiming, you're friends with and everything else. It's just like, It's funny how they can claim that they're his friend and all that, but put him in situations that are fucked up like that where he can't really play and enjoy the game. I inquire about it. Why are you forcing him to play higher level lobbies that, he obviously can't play or isn't used to in this point? And you pop back with saying that I don't have friends instead of, hey, taking note that your friend is struggling and trying to help him. All the while having this guy say, well, it doesn't matter how he plays. Only thing that matters is that I'm better than you. And I'm like round two of this delusion of you being better than I am. Like you are a champ two, and that is the highest rank that you've ever gotten in your time playing here. And you're barely champ two. Now I am GC3, brother. Like don't push those buttons. And if you're out here, if you are a lower rank and you're below GC, don't try to push a GC in playing better and then have that bullshit ass jealousy where you're like, nice shot anytime the GC goes for a double touch or something and misses. Or if I go up and whiff the ball or something, or backflip accidentally or whatever else, the rare time that I do it. Like I make like one mistake per 200 that you make. But when I make a mistake, you gotta make sure you call out every single thing that happens. Like stop the jealousy. I put in the tens of thousands of hours to get to where I am. Instead of being jealous and trying to call me out on anything and every mistake that I make, how's about you actually try to learn something? Save the replay, watch yourself and how you're fucking up. Hell, even you can even watch me and see what I do right in particular situations and see how I differ in my play style. You getting hold of the ball and throwing the ball away versus me controlling the ball. Maybe you'll learn something. Try to supplement your play style by looking at your teammates, you, everybody else on the field, and seeing how the rotations and positioning, by the way, positioning is more key than rotation, comes into play. I get tired of a teammate throwing the ball away, me flying cross, trying to take a shot on goal, and then teammates saying, okay, well, if you would stay away from the ball and rotate back, then maybe I'd be able to go for these. I'm like, brother, you're throwing the ball away. Every time you get it, you are hitting it downfield to them. I am just trying to make it awkward to them, because if not, you're going to sit back on our side of the goal and wait for them to get complete control of ball, and they're going to send the ball in and dunk your dumbass. But you don't see the mistakes that you're making, passing them the ball and then giving them a whole field worth of space. Only thing you see is me going in and, bumping this guy, taking control of the ball, trying to get a pass or a shot out as best I can and making it awkward for them, trying to fix your particular fuck up. You don't see me fixing your fuck ups because you're too busy getting mad at me for not coming back and rotating. How's about you come up? I shouldn't have to go back to get you to come up. You should be coming up as I'm heading back. I have my eyes on you, because trust me, every time I go up the wall and I go to pass the shit, I look and I see that you're still on our side of the field. So guess what? I have to make a solo play. And you want to complain that I never rotate back. Like, when am I supposed to rotate back? Am I supposed to just let the ball sit and give them free ball control and then leave? Then you'll just finally decide to go up and they'll just hit the ball over your head and score? You should be up in a usable position before I do anything. You shouldn't be sitting in the back of our goal or sitting in no man's land or something like that. And your low levels are starting to make me sick. Absolutely positively sick when I sit ball right in front of goal and it sits there for about 3 seconds before it clicks in your brain. Oh, maybe I should go for this. You should be going for that way before I even initiate the pass. You should already be going. You should be positioned up and you should already be going to wherever you need to be. I'm going to look for you to see where you are, and I'm going to get the ball wherever the hell you are, as long as you're not in no man's land. When you're in no man's land, I can't pass the ball out because I can't get enough power in most cases to pass it all the way backwards. And the occasional times that I actually can, and I do, it ends up going right over your head, or you end up backflipping because you're not ready for a pass because you're way too far to begin with. Or if I roll it directly to you, it just pops off the top of your head, hits ceiling, goes back down to them because you have no sense of ball control or any type of forward momentum when I pass it. Again, use your eyes, use your game, well, develop game sense, and use your positioning. I don't care about your shitty ass rotations. If the ball's heading towards goal, get a position, a defensive position, get proper shadowing, proper game sense, make sure you're not going to interrupt a teammate, and then save the ball if you need to. If not, getting to a supporting position where you can make a play out of their clear. You don't have to always go all the way back to the goal, touch the goal post, and then head back out. And diamond rotation and low champ rotation piss me off because of that. They grab every boost, big boost, all the way down to the side, go all the way back and rotate through goal, turn around, and then use all of that boost to boost back upfield. Like if you would have just stayed up, because you already had a teammate back, if you'd have just stayed up and supported me, I could have passed you the ball. We could have made a play. I'm not going to throw the ball out to them and let them make a shot straight on the goal unless I know somebody's back there and can send the ball back upfield, which then is just a faster pass downfield to let the goalie get engaged and stall the ball, flick the ball, double tap the ball, do whatever they need to do. Because I said, when I'm passing, I look, I can see where you are, if you're in a correct spot to where I can pass it. Sometimes I just say fuck it and I just pass it because I know they're not going to be there, and I'm like, fuck it. They're back enough to where they should be able to stop it if it goes over their head. Somebody's back, fuck it. If I know I got a goalie back, there's no point in really taking the time to check and see if I can go for a solo play. Just fucking do it. And I was trying to explain to this dumbass low level. He's a diamond 2. I was already on my way back. I had full boost, I had wave dash, and I was already heading back. And I told him, take the shot, because he was just chilling far back. Not in no man's land, but way far back, like towards goal side. Right on like the 3 point line. And I was like, take the shot. By this time I told him to take the shot, I was already halfway back. And he stopped. Typed to me, oh, what? And let them just have a free shot on goal. And then he decided to go forward. Got the ball knocked over him, shot back in the goal, and then I just watched it go in because I thought it was funny. He ran his mouth and then he got dunked on. I was like, really? If you would have actually known the location of your particular teammates, you would have known that I was already at half court heading back. If you would have went and made the guy flick the ball or made any type of initiation when I told you to, while he was struggling trying to get control of the ball, you would have had a force. Your teammate was already up there waiting on you to go and give him a good pass. You're the one that fucked up by not going. But you had to give me attitude. Oh, and give them free ball control or give them a free shot on goal? No, I'm already back, stupid. Look, use your eyes. I'm the one heading back. How is it that I know where my teammates are and you're the one that's back looking forward, don't know where all the positions and shit are? How are you that fucking dunce? Or how dense? That much of a dunce, or how are you that dense? And it's just the absolute stupid argument when you try to help a low level out and they want to rebuke you or rebuke you every time. Every time. Hey man, if you took the time to control that before you started shooting it downfield, you might be able to follow that for better play. Immediately hit back with, "Oh, well, you're shit at the game. Why should I ever listen to what you have to say?" or anything like that. I'm like, because I'm GC3 and I have well over 10,000 hours in the game, probably somewhere around 20,000. But I'm well over 10,000 hours at this point. That's why I kind of stopped playing the game. There's no fun. And I just find it funny that when it comes to Rocket League and things like that, you can say something very simple that you see the person doing wrong every time. And they'll just yell at you instead of actually listening to what's going on. If you ain't a pro, people don't want to listen to you. "Oh, okay, okay, Squishy. I'll do what you say," and they'll give you a sarcastic response. It's like, brother, if you would just shut the fuck up and listen for one goddamn second, you would be playing a lot better. You wouldn't be rage quitting lobbies and throwing up forfeits every 2 seconds if you would just stop and think and watch what's going on. You had a whole half of a field by yourself because they all went back for boost and to get positions. And instead of making a play or waiting for teammates to get in a position or anything like that, you just rolled the ball to them. They're already in usable positions. So what they did is they just popped the ball up. They all pushed up, passed the ball, bang, bing, bada boom, right in our goal. Thanks for the free ball control. And it kills me. Well, not as much. See, in the past, when a low level used to talk shit, I used to take them into 1v1s and I used to clap them. Or I used to wait till they get on the other side and I used to clap them. And I figured out after doing that for a little bit, what's the point? I can clap every other person that talks shit. What's the point? I'm not getting anything out of it because I knew that I was this good from the start. They're not getting anything out of it because they're not going to learn their lesson. They just figured out that, hey, they shouldn't have picked on somebody that possibly even knew what they were talking about. And 9 times out of 10, people that talk shit don't generally have any type of skill to back it up. So 9 out of 10 times, he knows he's going to get away with it, so he's not going to learn that lesson. His pride's going to take a small hit, but then he's just going to build it back up, bullying more plebes and all of that. So, you know, the main thing that pisses me off nowadays, though, like the number one thing, is people see GCs of just these gods that know every mechanic and can do everything in the world flawlessly. Like I am a GC3. There's a reason why I fell out of SSL. There ain't no way in hell that I have the focus or the patience to continuously play an almost flawless game. And I can't really say almost flawless because SSLs make a lot of mistakes too. Just not as much as, GC1s and GC2s. But, when I'm playing against people of my skill level, I don't make nearly as much mistakes as when I'm not playing with people that aren't my skill level. You know what I'm saying? When I tell that people aren't that good at the game, I tend to slow down and take my time and, make the game more enjoyable for everybody as opposed to just dunking everybody every chance that I get. And I'm just like, all the time, "You're not a GC, you're full of shit. Why are you getting matched make with me if you're GC?" For one, matchmaking and ranked and matchmaking and casual is two different things, and two is a smurf. I am on a smurf. If you can't put two and two together there, I'm sorry about you. If you're really GC, you shouldn't be in a match with me. You're correct. But I purposely put myself in a match with you because I want to be on a Smurf. GC matches take about 10 minutes to find well, not GC, higher GC level matches take about 10 minutes to find a match. And you play against the same motherfuckers every day. Guess what? If the same motherfuckers decide not to get on today, you ain't playing that day. So you get on a Smurf and you fuck around. Or if you get tired of playing with the same motherfuckers, which generally happens to me, I already know their play styles and shit like that and what move sets they got. You get tired of the same shit and the same people, so you need a breath of fresh air. So you go from ranked to casual. You run into people that are in mixed teams and fucking just absolutely positively are bad, because your MMR and casual is going to be lower than your MMR and rank by far. If you're ranked main or if you're a casual main, vice versa. Your casual rank is going to be higher than your rank main or rank MMR if you're a casual main. Being low on either or does not matter. It does not mean that you are bad. It just means you play one more or more than the other. So you have to stay in rank to get, a challenge and at least a decent game. Because if you go to casual from ranked on the same account, you're just too low. You're playing against, diamonds and shit like that. When you're used to playing with SSLs and shit, and you go, what the fuck? These guys can't even aerial straight type shit. So what I've done is my main is a GC3 in rank. I mean SSL if you want to go for twos, but I don't consider twos anything because twos is brain dead. GC3 is what I am, and that is my threes rank. Ones rank, I think I ain't played ones in a while. I think I'm unranked in ones. Whoops. Oh well. Ones takes a lot of time to build up. And was a ones main at one point in time. I got far, but then I got tired of it. Twos is brain dead. You have so much space and so much time to do actions. It's essentially this script. Take ball downfield. If person is out of position, make single play, put ball in, take advantage of positioning. If player's in correct position and postured up properly, pass to teammate. Teammate scores. The end. And it's very brainless in what you do. You get a lot of space to hit whatever types of plays or clips or whatever you want to try and hit. All the space in the world because there isn't that third person to really push. Everybody plays very, 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 very scripted. So I do do that in threes too, but super scripted in twos. So me saying SSL in twos don't mean shit. SSL in twos might as well be like champ one. Don't even worry about it. Scoot that shit out the way. That is why I say GC3. Because that is my threes rank. Tournaments that you win money on and esports and all of that are threes. 3v3. So that is the rank that I go off of, whatever your 3v3 is. Generally, your twos rank is going to be higher than your 3v3 rank. So when I hear somebody say, oh, well, I'm GC, I'm like, yeah, probably in twos. What's your threes rank? And they say champ one. Like, exactly. Fuck out of here. But anyway, it's just baffling how many people just don't think, they just do. Like they assume it's like a sport. Like they actually internalize Rocket League as being a sport. And they play it like a sport, like football or wherever else. They get control of the ball or soccer. I mean, I guess you can say soccer, but not a lot of people that play Rocket League actually play soccer. You can tell. But they get control of the ball and then they try to play the shit like it's football or something else. Some people play it like basketball and they just pass the ball around till somebody can make a shot. Some people try to play it like it's just solo dolo. They're the only person out on the field. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's the same play styles. That is what gives me that particular edge, especially against when it comes to low level to high level lobbies, is everybody generally sticks with one play style and then they just polish it to perfection. I've taken the time to polish every play style to perfection. I can 1v1 you, I can 2v2 you, I can 3v3 you. I used to spend 8 hours a day playing Rocket League, learning new mechanics, and getting all my shit, legit. I did this for months. I just dumped all my time into that shit. I had the time to spend it, so I did it. Dumped time into it. That's when my hours started going like, well, I mean, they were always high, to be fair. But that's when, I'd stay on, 8, sometimes 10 to 12 hours just practicing one mechanic if I couldn't get it till I got it. Taking all of that time, building everything up. That's the empire. And then utilizing that in today. Now, nowadays, I don't stay on very long because, well, I'm burnt out. Spending 8 hours a day on anything ain't good to do, even if it's a job. It's not a good thing to do every single day, months on end. I was motivated back then because I was already, getting to that point to where, the sky's open to me. Because when you first start playing Rocket League, you can't do shit because you have to learn the basics, the fundamentals, the, regular techniques. Once you learn the fundamentals and the advanced techniques, you can get into the, trick shots and freestyles and all the other, fancy things that you see going. Because now you know the fundamentals, you know how to position your car, what to get things to do. Once you get to that point, everything opened up, and I was like, shit, I'm good enough to where I can, start learning actual techniques, moves, and, everything else. And I just ran with it. Not to mention, at a time, one of the reviewers that paid me to do a review, I was reviewing a particular program that gives you rewards and everything back on the games that you play. So I had to log in hours on that, which I was putting in the hours, hours, hours. I was. So, and they were paying me for using their actual system too. So I was getting the rewards plus a fairly good paycheck because I was putting in hours on top of that. And I got a bonus for putting in a lot of hours on a game that I was going to play anyway. So I ended up getting quite a bit of money from that deal. One time. I missed that sponsor. I guess it wasn't a sponsor, but I missed that job. Good time. Then the sponsorship disappeared, and I pushed on for like a month or two afterwards. and then I stopped going as hard. Money might not mean everything, but it's a good motivator when you're wanting to do something. If you wanted to go skydiving and you wanted to try it out, just to get, that in there, like, oh, one day I want to go or one day this summer I want to go skydiving. Cool. Now, if there's something that you had planned, like, I don't know, July 7th, I'm going skydiving, you know? Yeah, skydiving, skydiving, skydiving. And then somebody comes along and says, hey, I'll pay you $1,000 if you go skydiving July 7th. You're going to say, fuck yeah? You know? Little did you know, I was going to do that shit anyway. So then you take that $1,000, you end up skydiving, doing something that you already had planned doing, and it just becomes this euphoric experience of like, you know, you got something out of the way and you were rewarded for it. Feels good. Either way, I thought I was gonna have wasted more than 46 minutes. Kind of sad. Um, man, I was hoping like an hour and a half was gonna be gone through. It started at like what 10? It'd have been like 11:30. I could have scraped something together and then just sent it. All right. Um, Dead by Daylight creation reviews. More of the story earlier about the Rocket League and all that, by the way, was if somebody obviously has more experience, especially if they tell you that you have more experience and you call them bullshit and they're like, nah, dude, like I actually do have, more experience. I'm actually am this rank. And they're actually sincere about it and all of that. And they try to help you out with a little bit of advice. Maybe consider the advice instead of just snapping back. Ain't nobody saying that you're bad. Ain't nobody trying to tell you how to live your life. They're just trying to give you advice on how to be more efficient in living your life. If every day you walk over, you pick the hose up, you attach it to one end of the faucet, you go to the other side, you attach the hose to the other end of, I don't know, let's say a water hose extension. You use it, you take the extension off, you take the hose off, you wrap it up, and then you sit it somewhere. If the guy says, hey, if you get one of those racks that holds the hose, it automatically pulls out and it's spring loaded so it'll contract and you won't have to worry about, doing that. Plus, it holds the attachments, which you can just leave on the end of the hose and slide into the slot. You can leave it already hooked up if you want as well, or just leave it beside it if you're not comfortable with it having hooked up. It comes also with a plug that you can put over the threads that keeps anything else from getting up inside of there, causing any additional issues. Also comes with something called, thread locker or something like that. For when you attach and release and all of that, you're not, damaging the threads, etc., etc. Don't look at him and be like, how dare you show a teacher or tell me how to do all of this? I'm not a fucking noob. I've been fucking watering this shit for years. I'm not a fucking idiot. I know how to water things. He's not telling you how to water your garden. Everybody, for the most part, can figure out how to water a garden in some aspect. And he doesn't give a shit. He wasn't even looking at your setup on how you watered a garden. The only thing he was looking up is that you're looking at was your setup. You can be more efficient at watering your garden if you use this set that has different nozzles and different all kinds of other things. So you're not sitting there for an hour doing one thing at a time, watering one plant, watering one plant, watering one plant, when you can water the entire row with one attachment, just standing there. He's trying to make you more efficient at doing your job, not telling you how to do your job. And that is the main piss off when you try to give somebody advice. He's just ungrateful. Like, all right, then, you don't want to listen to me, fine, but I figured I'd give you this advice. I now know in the future, when you are actually struggling and you're actually looking for help, I'm going to say, fuck you. And I'm going to continue to drive down the road. And I'm going to leave you stranded, left for dead. Sorry. That's going to be the end of it. You keep rebuking people, you keep being mad at them, you keep fighting back, and everything anybody says, they're going to eventually stop caring about you. You are going to live a very bad life. Unless you want to live that sort of life. They might think twice if somebody's giving you advice on something. Maybe listen to what they have to say. Think about it for a second to see if it'll actually help you. And then just store it in the memory banks. And move on with your life. Just tell them thank you for the advice and then move on. Don't be a little two-faced bitch about it and be like, oh, well, thank you for the advice. I'll look into it and then walk away from them, like those smug ass motherfuckers do that obviously didn't care anything you have to say and ain't gonna ever use that. Don't be that guy. But just chill out. What did you do? Oh, I thought she did something. Nice little drawing. I don't know who the kid is though, but nice little drawing. Oh boy. Iridescent offering ideas. Community effort. This is probably gonna be dumb, isn't it? Fresh minds. That's RDQ. Let's come up with some iridescent offerings that either side of the fight can use. Well, the thing about that is every single iridescent offering that they have has always been just a master offering that scales off of another offering. Like the Harvest Moon or whatever the hell it was called. The Blood Moon, the Harvest Moon, all of that. Which makes the game darker as opposed to this dark mist that's a joke. Every time I use the purple dark mist, I get put into a indoors map. Behavior. Code that shit. If you get more than one purple, whatever increases the dark mist offering, because I can't think of it right now. Code that shit to not pick a fucking inside map, or at least change the inside map in some way. You ain't gotta put mist on the inside where it don't fucking matter. Make the fucking lights inside or some shit dim and use that as a mist effect. Dim the lights a little bit. If one is full brightness, then a brown one should make it like 0.9. The next stage up, point like 7. Then the purple one, like 0.6 or something. I don't know. Have it scale the actual brightness of the inside area, as opposed to just putting dark mist blotches here or there that mean absolutely nothing to an inside map. That shit should have been coded out a long time ago. You took out the Harvest Moon and Blood Moon and all that other shit. The really fun ones that made the map like really dark and all that shit. What you left us with was bullshit. Mm. Iridescent wood, iridescent rarity, survivor, secrets. Calls upon the entity to remove one sacrificial hook from the trial. Basement hooks are unaffected. That's all. That's my offering. What are some of your ideas? It's already cute. What you've done here is you've opened up a thread that you thought would be interesting, but instead of coming in with a well thought out banger of an idea, you threw out a bullshit ass weak idea, and then you're asking the community to do the work for you. Come on, man. Either list the question and leave this alone, or come out with something, a little bit better that you can run with. Because the way that sits, I mean, like, come on, man. Come on. Also, you mention both sides, and then you said, I'll go first for survivors. If you want to mention both sides, you should also mention something that a killer can use, and not the exact opposite like behavior would do. Call upon the entity to add one hook. One, this don't make any sense taking away a hook because you actually get more value if you run the add-on that makes the hook spawn farther away. If every hook on the map spawns farther away from one another, you've essentially removed like 3 or 4 hooks from the lobby just based off space. Where this particular iridescent add-on that's supposed to be the best, it's your bang for your money, you're removing one random hook. Nobody knows where, but one random hook from the trial. It could be way out in the far side of the map, it could be anything. And they're only getting one hook's worth instead of a lot of value from that, where the hooks are farther apart. So you've actually downgraded that an iridescent one. But another thing you didn't think of, if you want to have more iridescent things added, you're going to also have to increase the prestige cap from 3 to like 5 or something like that. And on the fourth or fifth or whatever the behavior decides, they're going to have to increase the rarity of these iridescent offerings up a little bit. So, doing something as simple as adding in iridescent offerings, you're going to change more aspects in the game that you're not realizing. And it's going to keep, cascading down. Because now they have to do more prestige things or more prestige levels, which means they have to have more prestige gear for survivors and for killers, and then that has to go through every other killer and survivor in the game. So more cosmetic packs and crap like that are gonna have to come out. That's gonna cascade into more things and more and more and more and more and more. And then next thing you know, to incorporate iridescent add-ons, they now have to extend the entirety of their game even more, which in turn would be a severe increase in memory because the game takes up a lot of space, even though they're trying to compress files and all of that. The memory problem that they're having of the game being too big and taking too long to install is going to be inflated. The last thing they really talked about is that they were compressing files and trying to make the game smaller because it takes a long time for the PTB to install and the regular game to install. Especially on my shit, which runs slow for whatever reason. That generally takes like 12 plus hours to install either or. I literally leave that shit on overnight, go to sleep, wake back up, and still have to wait like 2 hours on that shit. It's long to install that shit. So increasing the size of the game is also going to be an issue. And if you increase the size of the game too much, something has to be cut. So what do you cut in exchange for an iridescent add-on? What do you get rid of? Anytime you have a lot of new things coming in, other things that are obsolete have to be taken out. And for the love of fucking God behavior, buff slippery fucking meat. For fuck's sakes, buff slippery meat. I have talked about that so many times on so many different ways you can buff that perk, especially with the new systems and everything you threw out. This public test beta that you had was the perfect time to implement a slippery meat fix, and you fucked it up. You absolutely, positively fucked it up. Slippery meat has no merit because there's no such thing as a luck build that'll guarantee you, the unhook, and luck only goes towards your chances at escaping. So you have to run like Ace's perk to guarantee that you get something good out of a box, or at least like something with a good add-on on it out of a chest. So luck ain't worth a fuck for this game because you have deliverance and other things to assist people in that particular getting off the hook and breaking hooks, etc., etc. Boil over for going to the hook. Got a whole bunch of things implemented, but getting off the hook, it's literally deliverance or you just wait. Slippery meat fails most of the time. Instead of making it a 7% chance, why not make it a little bit higher? I mean, even a 30% chance, that is 30 times out of 100, if you code it right, that you'll get off slippery meat. 30% times, that means 30% of the times that you run the perk. Well, it's letting me less than a third, so it's 30%. A little less than a third. You're going to succeed. The rest of the times are going to still be failures. There are a lot of things you can do with slippery meat to make it good. You can make it decent. You can make it all right. Because, I mean, hell, if I don't want to go and buy a particular character pack to get deliverance or wait for it to pop up in the Shrine of Secrets, all I have is slippery meat. So deliverance is literally pay to win at this case. Unless you have the patience for that perk to pop back up again. So it's like you have perks that you keep changing and you keep adjusting and you keep doing things too. But the perks that need to be changed, like 100%, like slippery meat, never get looked at. You guys went through and looked at so many different perks and you tweaked them and changed them, from like gearhead and everything else. But the small perks like slippery meat never got changed. You looked at that and you were like, it's fine. It's not fine. Luck builds aren't a thing anymore. Even with the best of luck you build, you get what, 11, 12% tops? And that's running the luck offering, slippery meat, all of the luck perks, and everything else. 11 or 12% chance. So a little less than a tenth of a, let's say about, hmm, let's say 1 in 8 times you try, it's going to fail. That's not necessarily true because you get 3 attempts, and each and every one of those attempts, you only have like a max of like 12% chance. Because it's not stacking. You don't get 12, then 24, then 36%. You get a spin on 12% every time. Nobody knows how the tables are set because it could be just, let's say it's a circle, almost like a pie graph looking setup. The 12% all could be as one big ass chunk, or the 12% could just be dotted along the particular board. Who knows how the table's set up? And when you go with RNG, RNG actually isn't RNG. RNG is as much as RNG is the programmer makes it. Generally, it's just an RNG script that favors the same couple of numbers each time and doesn't really change much. If you run an RNG script through a computer and you run that instance 100 times and you see the numbers that pop up, in most RNG systems, because they aren't properly coded, you will have a couple of numbers that hit like 5 times, and you will have numbers that completely miss, didn't hit at all. This is the interesting thing. Run that shit through 1,000 times. Each time you run this iteration through, you will find a couple of numbers that have about a 5 stack on it. And the rest will never be hit. Ever. And that iteration just changes. 5 might be the first iteration, 8 might be the second iteration, 3 might be the next iteration, 54 might be the next iteration. And if you keep running it through till you get to the end of their RNG script, you can literally find out what particular numbers that are going to be rolled or have a higher chance of being rolled due to their own script. If you have access to it and you can do that, and it's something that is an actual numbers game, you can always pick the numbers that that are going to have the higher chance of being picked. And you'll win more than the average Joe that just picks one of the random hot numbers and wins because it's that iteration of the script. Some people try to make it the highest chance of RNG by making an RNG script for the RNG script. So you have a number that is 1 through 10, and then you have a number of scripts that correspond to that 1 through 10, and you make an RNG pick the number randomly between 1 and 10, and then you have 10 different scripts for each one of those numbers that spin through those particular 10 to try to mix it up. But at the end of the day, you have a script that's running 1 through 10. And on each of those 1 through 10, you have 10 different scripts. So if you land on 1, it's going to be any of those 10 scripts that pop up in that. If you land on 2, it's going to be any of those 10 scripts that pop up in that. Or if you want to simplify it, if we go one further, inside of those 10 scripts are going to be 10 numbers. So you'll have 10 numbers and 10 scripts that is inside of another 10 different scripts. And the RNG spinner will spin between 1 and 10 numbers. Generally, you'll have between 1 and 100. So numbers will be repeating in different scripts. If it's like a huge number sort, it'll be different numbers in each script. And that's how they try to make their RNGs. But the thing about it is the basic RNG scripts aren't actually RNG. Then somebody has the idea of saying, well, what if I make an RNG script that runs that RNG script. So it picks a whole bunch of random numbers, throws them down on the scale. Instead of going from 1 to 10, it's 1, 5, 2, 3, 8, 5, picks a whole bunch of random numbers and slams that shit down. So it's not even 1 to 10. It slams that shit down there. And you have numbers that ain't even from 1 to 10. You have repeats of numbers here or there, etc., etc. In those particular repeats have different scripts, and then inside of those particular scripts have other scripts. And they tried it like that. This is where people, most importantly, casinos and places that are actually trying to make a profit, look and they say, oh, well, if we set this up correctly, we can kind of nudge this particular script, keep it, RNG, in quotes, to where we don't know exactly what number is going to pop out, but if we run every single script that is 5, whatever script 5 is, where there's 3 13s, or let's just say 1 and 2, there's 5 1s and there's 2 2s. 5 is our winning number, 2 is their winning number, and we throw it out there like that. 5 of those we're going to win on, 2 of those they're going to win on. If they get lucky, it is what it is, they keep the money. But, most times we're going to win and we're always going to make a surplus. Same with carnival games and arcade games and things like that. Before you even start that game, everything's already been decided for you. As soon as you put the money in and hit start, a script is loaded. Whether you're going to have the potential to lose or not, loaded before you even make any type of action. Especially when it comes to like that circly light game where you stop it in the right spot and it goes over one. You were already predestined to lose that before. The script said you were going to lose. That's it. And not only did the script gonna say that you lose, the script's only gonna allow you to get a specific number of picks. If you think, each of these scripts only have 10 slots. One slot is going to be the lowest prize that you can ever get. The lowest, probably the first couple, like 3 slots, depending on how you want to weigh it in your favor or not. Those 3 slots, by default, are going to be the lowest prize values. And they're going to be in every script, all of the 10 scripts that we were talking about. So, 3 out of 7 choices is already weighed against you. Out of those 10 scripts, 1, if you're lucky, 2 is going to have a jackpot in it. Depending on how often they want the payouts and things like that, they can go in and change that. Let's say 1 script actually has the jackpot in it. In that jackpot script, they're also going to stack it more with lower scripts as well. So if you don't hit the jackpot, you're going to win a lower prize. They also have a buffer script, in parentheses, where you're guaranteed the win, but you're not going to win big. It's going to be balanced out to where you're going to win 10 and lose like 20 or 30 on top of that just to keep you interested. And you're going to get all of these small wins. You win $10 here, but you spent 30 to win the $10. And they're going to keep dinging you. You win 2 cents here. You went 5 cents here. You won $5 here. And all the time you're going to be losing as you're gaining. There's going to be a bunch of lights and shit that lights up. And that's how they basically get you. They appeal to your senses and you don't even think about how much of a scam you're playing into. Fun as hell. I definitely would do again. But before you even walk into that shit, it's already determined. Well, I didn't say before you walk in. As soon as you press start, let's be literal. As soon as you press start or play or whatever, It's already determined whether or not you're going to win or not. That is simple. Go to my intermission screen. Turn off the sound though. Roblox be fun. Roblox be real fun. I find myself playing that game. Well, I can't really say playing. I find myself doing other things in Roblox. More importantly, the studio here. Easiest way to learn coding. I mean, I have C++ down pat. I've dabbled in a little bit of other coding. I found out, or like JavaScript, easy. C++ was the start. JavaScript was the intermediate. I've dabbled in a little bit more coding. I figured that Lua, which is what Roblox runs off of, I've been trying to learn it by going in and doing, scripts and things like that and slowly trying to learn it. I mean, because that if you're trying to learn Java, once you start taking classes and learning Java, Minecraft is a good tool to use to code Java scripts. An already built game that runs off a Java engine that you can have client side access to, where you can code things to do whatever you want them to do. Minecraft has a huge selection of assets and anything else that you could want, assets, sounds, etc., etc. So you can literally make anything do anything in Minecraft. And since Java is one of the easier codes to use, you can really have a good time there. Lua. Ooh. United States uses standard where everything else uses metric. Lua is about that standard. It is the standard. C++ is old and outdated. I understand why you have to be very literal with it. JavaScript is more new. I understand how you can be a lot looser with it. But Lua, the way that it functions is weird as fuck compared to both of them. You gotta do some roundabout crazy ass shit sometimes. And I mean, yes, Lua is close to C++. Yes, yes. And also, sort of has aspects of Java if you look at it a specific way, but Jesus Christ, it's not what I expected. You defined a function in C++ or Java, and then you go on carrying along, doing what you want to do. Lua, well, I guess it could just be Roblox itself. But from what I've seen through Roblox, the way they have things set up, you have to call so many different services and functions and everything else, which I mean, you do have to in all the other coding scripts and all that, but the system won't even understand what you're talking about if you don't have the correct thing loaded. You know, I'm used to whatever the hell the character's called. Sometimes they put them in as just your game ID, sometimes they have a specific thing. Like Robux blocks uses like humanoid, or you can use player depending on what you're using. So game.player, but in order to use game.player, you have to call upon a function sometimes, or a service and all of this. When the other things, you just literally say player, and then you define what or who the player is. Player, for me, would be the QTASTIC. Blow up, enter. And then I would just boof, in game, kaboom. For Robux, you have to forget the services, define everything, connect functions together, create a event, trigger that event. I guess it'd be a remote event, but trigger that event by connecting it to a different script, connecting the functions together. Oh, you also have to connect that to the event after you make the event. Put all of that shit into a special place. And then recode it all together. And just to make somebody, well, I mean, to make somebody explode would be a very simple script, but just to make somebody explode, plus you have to change the block colors and get the sound to play at that specific time and do everything else. Java excels because it already has preset shit. That's what makes Java so good and so versatile. And as Java gets bigger, it has a lot of preset things. C++ makes it easy because, you know, making loops. If she's dumb, do x plus 1. Return 0. Or if she's not dumb, you know, leave x alone. Dummy counter. You send the code through. I mean, obviously, there's more than that, but you send code through. That's your loop. You know, you keep going. Blah blah blah. Obviously, it's longer. There's a lot more functions, but I'm trying to keep it semi short. But you go through, you code all of that through, all of that, and then you have a working function. The only thing that's bad about C++ is you have to define everything. Loops don't automatically finish, don't automatically connect or anything like that. You have to type and define every single thing that's happening and make sure everything's coded properly. There is so many things that you have to type, and if you fuck up and mistype one thing, you're just gonna get the what you always get, your encoder error. Encoder, compiler error. And you ain't gonna know what the fuck happened. C++. That's why I'm glad I did that shit first, because I know I can go back through the code and find where I fucked up. Or if you're expecting a particular answer or a particular function to print and it doesn't, it prints something else, you have to go back in and look through all of that code to see where the fuck you fucked up at. Learning C++ was a nightmare at first, but once you got along with it, it became easier because it's a lot simpler. Lua, which I'm guessing came before JavaScript did, after you set everything, then it pulls up functions for you. You can make a long function equal to one thing, type that one thing down, and it already knows that it's this long ass function. And JavaScript has everything preset. So if you say, for example, step 1, your character is going to take a forward step of one spot, or one space. Lua, to do that shit, you have to do a lot. JavaScript, C++, you have to do a decent amount. I mean, you would just make a basic loop and you would make him continuously walk, or you would make a simple, make it simple, make him take one step. I mean, I don't know what else I'd tell you. Make him take the one step or make him continuously step till something happens. C++, if you wanted to make 20 steps, you would do a loop all the way to 19 because 0 is 1 in C++. 0 is 1 in Java, if I remember correctly. But Lua, 1 is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3. Everything else, 0 is 1, 1 is 2, 3 is 4, etc., etc., because 0 is number. It is included. Fucked me up at the beginning. Because it was saying some shit, and I was like, no, there should be 6. And it came back 5. And I was like, I'm not fucking stupid, motherfucker. I know this is 6. You got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That is 6. Looked up an article on why this shit was fucked up, and nope. In Lua, 1 is 1 and 6 is 6. And I'm like, that is the dumbest shit ever. 0 is nil, which means nothing. It holds no value, and that's how they included their functions instead of having self-terminating and things like that. So yeah. What the hell? What is this S19? Like what is that? I mean, I'm glad that it's 18 plus, even if it is something, so it's not pedophilic, but like what the fuck? What is that? I see it all the time. What is that? S19 LOL. What is it? Is it a streamer? Is it a YouTube? What is it? What is it? Twitch? I don't know. Somebody's getting some good advertisement out of bots. Not the way you want to do it, because you're just gonna hate people, or people are just gonna hate on you for doing it. But whatever. Wherever you get your money. Some people scam, some people work for it. Some people, it falls into their lap. It is what it is. I'm not gonna dock you for it, but I am going to shake my head. Either way, as I said, I just wanted to push that a little bit of time. I am bored. Nobody's really streaming that I'm super interested in watching, so now I guess I can go lay down. I'll probably wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning if I do. It always happens. But yeah. I'm not expecting anybody to take the time to listen to what I say. Like I said, I just make it an archive for myself in the future. When I come back to it, I'll either have the same opinion or I'll be like, I thought that way in the past. Interesting. Look how naive I was. Or damn, brother. I forgot all about that. It's a good reminder. Sometimes I'm like, dude, you're just a dumbass. The fuck are you talking about at that moment? Take your ass to sleep. But either way, if you do watch it, hopefully it's just quality entertainment. And possibly makes you think or some other bullshit like that. Who knows? But yeah. Thank anybody for watching. And as always, supplement your lifestyle. And I see you next time. Peace. I wish I could hear the audio of that, but I can't. That's the Vibe Airline.